You ever wonder why some people make it and some don't? It's not talent, it's not money, it's not luck. It's something much quieter. Something that doesn't get applause. Something that doesn't trend. It's the person who shows up every single day without needing a spotlight, without needing anyone to clap for them, without needing the mood to be perfect. It's consistency. That's it. That's the whole game. While most people wait for motivation to strike like lightning, the people who win are out there doing the work. Rain or shine, tired or energized, praised or ignored, they don't wait to feel ready. They don't need validation. They've made a decision. I will show up no matter what. And that changes everything. Because when you become the kind of person who does what they say they're going to do, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching, you become unstoppable. Your confidence grows, your habits solidify, your results start to multiply. And without even realizing it, you're standing in a life you built one brick at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. Most people want fast, they want loud, they want attention. But you don't need any of that. You just need to keep showing up every single day. Now let's talk about how you do that and why the people who master consistency never go unnoticed for long. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants to grow, to achieve, to change their lives. But most people are waiting for the right feeling. They're waiting to feel motivated, to feel inspired, to feel ready. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. Here's the truth. No one wants to hear. Motivation is a liar. It's inconsistent. It comes and goes. One day it's there and you feel like you can take over the world, and the next day you can't even get out of bed. You can't rely on something that's unreliable to build the life you want, because success doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. And what you do consistently is what defines your future. Discipline is louder than motivation always. Discipline is what wakes you up when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and every muscle in your body is screaming for more sleep. Discipline is what pushes you to go to the gym when your energy is drained and the weather's bad. Discipline is what makes you open that book, make that call, build that skill, even when your emotions are pulling you in the opposite direction. Discipline is the muscle. Motivation is just the spark. You build discipline the same way you build strength, with reps. And every time you choose action over comfort, every time you choose follow through over excuses, you're strengthening that muscle. You're proving to yourself that you are someone who follows through, someone who doesn't quit just because it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. Think about it. How many things in your life have fallen apart simply because you were waiting to feel like doing them? That workout plan you promised yourself you'd stick to, that side business you said you'd start, that journal you were going to write in every day, that course you were supposed to finish. You didn't fail because you weren't capable. You failed because you didn't feel like showing up one day. And that one day turned into weeks, then months, then the goal disappeared. Discipline removes the need for feelings. It trains you to show up regardless. When you live with discipline, your actions aren't based on how good or bad your day was. They're based on who you've decided to be. You stop needing ideal circumstances. You stop needing to be in a good place mentally before doing what needs to be done. You stop letting your emotions be the CEO of your life. Because discipline turns your routine into non-negotiables. It becomes a system, and that system builds results. Think of the people you respect most, the ones who seem to operate on another level. They're not just motivated, they're committed. They've built lives around discipline, and that discipline is what allows them to create results day after day, year after year. Athletes don't get to take the day off because they're not in the mood. Soldiers don't skip their responsibilities because they had a rough night. High performers understand that discipline isn't optional, it's who they are. You want to change your life? Then stop waiting for motivation, start building discipline. Here's the hard part, the beginning sucks. Let's be honest, when you first start waking up earlier, it's going to feel awful. When you start sticking to your new habits, you're going to want to quit. Every single day, your mind is going to fight you. Your body will resist. But that's the test. That's the resistance you must push through if you ever want to become consistent. Because once you pass that threshold, once you start choosing discipline long enough to build momentum, everything starts to shift. Your brain adapts, your body gets stronger, your thoughts change, your default becomes showing up, not quitting. And that's where the power lives. Discipline is how you become dangerous. It separates the amateurs from the pros. It separates talkers from doers. Most people love to talk about what they're going to do. They'll tell you all their plans, their dreams, their New Year's resolutions. But when it comes time to actually execute every single day, they vanish because they've built their entire identity around feeling good instead of doing what's necessary. If you really want this, if you want to grow, evolve, and become unshakable, then you need to start valuing discipline more than your feelings. You need to become the kind of person who does what they said they would do, long after the mood they said it in has faded. You need to become consistent. Let me tell you something, there's nothing more powerful than a person who is relentlessly consistent, even if they move slowly, even if they fail along the way. Because over time, they get stronger, smarter, and sharper. They earn results because they keep showing up when everyone else gives up, and that builds confidence that can't be faked. You want to build a life that no one can take from you? Then master discipline. Train it, fight for it, make it part of your identity. Don't rely on hype, trends, or motivation. Those things die out, but discipline, that lasts, that sustains, that carries you through every high and every low. Discipline is louder than motivation. It's quieter, sure. It doesn't feel as exciting, but it gets the job done. And in the end, the results always speak louder than the excuses. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of feeling stuck, tired of watching other people rise while you stay in the same place, then stop negotiating with yourself. Make a decision, and from this moment on, start showing up like your future depends on it. Because it does. Success doesn't show up all at once. It's not one big leap, one lucky break, or one perfect moment. It's built quietly, gradually, through small, repeated actions that seem almost insignificant in the moment. The world loves to celebrate overnight success, but what it doesn't see is the years of unseen, boring, consistent effort that built the foundation. That's the truth most people miss. It's not about doing something huge once, it's about doing something small every single day and never stopping. You want big results? Start with small habits. The problem is we're wired to chase the dramatic. We want the instant transformation, the before and after, the life-altering shift. But in reality, real change creeps in like a shadow. It doesn't knock on your door with fireworks. It shows up when you make one good decision, then another and another. Those small choices start stacking. They build momentum. And before you even realize it, your life looks completely different, not because you made a grand move, but because you made small moves consistently. Think about it. One glass of water won't change your health. One workout won't transform your body. Reading one page won't make you a genius. Saving $5 won't make you rich. But if you drink water every day, work out every day, read every day, save every day, everything begins to shift. Slowly at first, but it compounds. Compounding is the secret weapon of consistency. It's the idea that the effect of your efforts multiplies over time. It's like planting a seed. At first, it looks like nothing's happening. You water it, care for it, give it sunlight, and it stays the same. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, the foundation is being laid. Then one day, a small sprout pushes through the soil. And over time, that little sprout becomes a towering tree. That's what small habits do. They grow beneath the surface until one day the results become impossible to ignore. People underestimate the power of small habits because they're not flashy, they're not glamorous, they're quiet. You're not going to get praised for making your bed, walking 10 minutes, or writing one sentence in your journal. No one's going to clap when you turn down junk food or go to sleep 30 minutes earlier. But those are the exact habits that slowly build discipline, clarity, health, and momentum. They seem irrelevant in isolation, but together over time, they create strength. The people who win in life aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who learned how to master their small habits. They didn't let their ego convince them that they were above the basics. They respected the process, Even when it was boring, they trusted the compound effect. While everyone else was looking for shortcuts, they were quietly showing up every single day. And over time, those tiny efforts separated them from the pack. You have to understand, every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. You brush your teeth once, you cast a vote for personal hygiene. You go for a walk, you cast a vote for your health. You read a chapter, you cast a vote for your growth. The more votes you cast, the stronger your identity becomes. Until one day, those small actions aren't just habits anymore. They're part of who you are. And when something becomes part of your identity, it becomes effortless to maintain. But this only works if you're consistent. You can't cast a few votes and expect a revolution. One good day doesn't change your life. One bad day doesn't ruin it either. It's the trend that matters. The average of your efforts over time. That's what compounds. That's what transforms you. And here's something important to understand. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Perfection is a trap. It keeps people from even starting, or it makes them give up the moment they mess up. Don't fall for that. You will miss a day. You will make mistakes. That's part of the process. The key is to never miss twice. Get back on track. Recenter. Keep moving forward. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. So, look at your life right now. What are the small habits you're repeating daily? Are they building you or breaking you? Because whether you realize it or not, your current habits are shaping your future. If you're constantly hitting snooze, skipping meals, mindlessly scrolling, avoiding hard conversations, that adds up. Just like discipline adds up, so does avoidance. Start small. Start where you are. If your life feels chaotic, if your dreams feel too far away, if you don't know where to begin, begin with one small habit. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Read one page, walk for 15 minutes. Put your phone down during meals. These things seem trivial, but they are powerful, because what you're really doing is proving to yourself, I can keep a promise. I can show up. I can change. And once you prove that to yourself, you become dangerous, because now you're not relying on luck. You're not relying on willpower. You're relying on systems, small, consistent behaviors that move you forward, whether you feel like it or not. And when those systems kick in, everything gets easier, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Don't wait for the big moment. Don't wait for life to slow down. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now. Start small. Show up daily. And trust the compound effect. Because the greatest transformations never happen in one big step. They happen one small choice at a time. That's the secret. And it's always been right in front of you. Trust is one of the most powerful forces you can build, not just with other people, but with yourself. And the truth is, consistency is what builds that trust. Not talent, not words, not intentions. It's the action you repeat day after day that sends a message to the world and to your own mind. I can be counted on. I follow through. I show up. It starts with you. See, most people are walking around with a fractured relationship with themselves. They don't trust their own word anymore. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time. Every time they said, I'm going to get up early tomorrow, and didn't every time they promised to eat better, to stop scrolling, to finish that book, to go to the gym, and didn't follow through. Those broken promises add up. Not just in habits, but in self-belief. Because every time you say you'll do something and you don't, you chip away at your own confidence, quietly, slowly, until one day you don't even believe yourself anymore. That's what inconsistence does. It erodes your inner trust. But the good news, that trust can be rebuilt. It's not about making grand promises anymore. It's not about trying to change everything in one night. It's about showing up in small, consistent ways and proving to yourself that this time you're serious. You wake up when you say you will. You complete what you start. You don't need a cheering squad. You don't need external motivation. You follow through because it's who you are becoming. The more you do this, the more your self-respect begins to grow. You stand taller. You feel stronger. You walk into rooms differently because there's a quiet confidence that only comes from being aligned with your own actions. You're not just dreaming anymore. You're not just hoping, you're building. That's the power of consistency. It doesn't just change your results, it changes your identity. And this shift doesn't stay private. It radiates outward. People feel it. When you become consistent, others start to notice, not because you're loud about it, but because consistency builds credibility. Anyone can be impressive. Anyone can work hard for a day, but can you show up when it's boring, when it's hard, when no one's clapping? That's what earns real respect from your family, your team, your clients, your peers. It's not the flash, it's the follow-through. People begin to trust those who are reliable. Think about it. Who do you lean on in your own life? It's the people who show up, the ones who do what they say they're going to do, the ones who are consistent in how they treat you, how they communicate, how they deliver. And it's the same with you. If you want to be trusted, if you want people to take you seriously, it starts with being consistent. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be predictable. In the best way, you become someone others can count on. And more importantly, you become someone you can count on. That's when everything starts to shift, because trust is the foundation for everything. Relationships, leadership, success, and even happiness. But it all starts with discipline. That's the engine behind consistency. You don't always feel like showing up, but you do it anyway. And every time you do, you're telling yourself a new story. I am not the same person who keeps quitting. I am someone who finishes what I start. That story starts becoming your truth. And eventually your mind stops doubting you. Your body stops resisting. Your energy aligns. You stop having to convince yourself. You just do it. It becomes who you are. And in that process, people begin to notice something different about you. You're not chasing validation. You're not talking about what you're going to do. You're already doing it. Quiet consistency becomes your power. People begin to rely on you, not because you're shouting the loudest, but because your actions speak volumes. In a world where everyone's talking, the person who keeps showing up stands out. There's also a deeper truth here. Consistency is love in action. Whether it's with yourself or with others, showing up repeatedly is how love, trust, and respect are formed. You don't build meaningful relationships through grand gestures once in a while. You build them through daily consistency. Showing up for the people you care about. Listening, being present, keeping your word. That's what builds a bond that lasts. That's what makes people feel safe with you, seen by you, respected by you. The same is true in business, in leadership, in any team you're part of. If people can't count on you to be consistent, they won't fully trust you. You can be smart, you can be charming, you can be talented, but if you're unreliable, people will keep their distance. They won't invest in you because they're always bracing for the moment you drop the ball. So ask yourself, how are you showing up? Not just when it's convenient, but when it's inconvenient. Are you the person who finishes what they start? Are you the one who keeps promises, especially the ones you make to yourself? Because in the end, consistency is your reputation. It's your legacy. It's what people remember about you. But above all, it's what you remember about yourself. You don't need to be flashy. You don't need to be perfect. But if you are consistent, truly consistent, you will be respected. You will be trusted. And that trust will open doors that talent never could. Show up every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's how you become unstoppable from the inside out. Life is unpredictable. No matter how well you plan, how disciplined you are, or how clear your vision is, chaos will come. Storms will hit. Things will fall apart. People will disappoint you. Emotions will rise and crash without warning. That's not pessimism, that's reality. And if you don't have something solid anchoring you, when the storm hits, you will break. You will spiral, you will lose yourself in the noise. That's why consistency is so powerful, because consistency is your anchor. It's your stabilizer. It's the one thing you can control when everything else feels out of control. When emotions are running wild, when your plans are burning down, when you're overwhelmed, exhausted, or heartbroken, your habits can save you. Your structure can ground you. Your discipline can keep you from sinking. When chaos hits, and it's your routine that will protect your mind. The world around you may be falling apart. But if you've trained yourself to stick to your habits, You won't. You might feel the pressure, but you won't collapse under it. Why? Because you've already created a system of stability inside yourself. You don't have to feel okay to move forward. You just have to stay consistent. Most people crumble in chaos because they haven't built anything strong enough to hold them. Their habits are driven by emotion, and when emotions get messy, so does their life. One bad day becomes 3. A missed workout becomes a month. One argument becomes a complete collapse. Not because they're weak, but because they never developed systems that could hold them steady in the chaos. Consistency is not about being robotic. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to stay grounded, even when nothing makes sense. It's about showing up, even if you're crying, even if you're angry, even if you're terrified. It's refusing to give your power away to chaos. The truth is, life doesn't get easier. It doesn't magically settle into perfection. But you can become stronger, more centered, more prepared, and that happens when you take your small daily practices seriously. It might feel silly, making your bed, journaling your thoughts, drinking water, stretching, working out, planning your week. But those things matter. They matter especially when the world is loud and you're mentally tired. Because in chaos, we look for what's familiar, what's predictable. And when you've been consistent with your habits, they become your safe zone, your base. They give you a sense of control when everything else feels out of reach. You can't stop bad things from happening, or you can choose not to let them destroy your rhythm. Consistency helps you protect your mind. When you're spiraling, your discipline becomes your clarity. When you're grieving, your routine gives you structure. When you're overwhelmed, your habits give you direction. You may not be able to fix everything around you, but if you stick to the basics, you stay in motion, and forward motion is what keeps you alive when chaos tries to drown you. People think strength is loud. They think it looks like fighting, shouting, dominating. But real strength is quiet. It's calm in the middle of a storm. It's the ability to keep doing what you need to do, even when everything inside you wants to run, shut down, or lash out. That kind of strength doesn't come from hype or motivation. It comes from consistency. It comes from discipline built over time. You don't rise in chaos by accident. You rise because you've trained for it. That's what your habits are. Training. Every day that you show up for yourself, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, you're preparing for the moments when life tries to knock you out. You're building your armor, your inner structure. You're teaching your body, your mind, and your emotions that you are in charge. And the people who don't build this inner structure, they rely on circumstances to feel okay. They need life to be smooth. They need people to treat them a certain way. They need everything to go their way in order to stay balanced. But that's a dangerous place to live from, because life will not cater to your feelings. It will test you. And if you've built no discipline, no consistency, you'll always be a victim to whatever the world throws at you. This is why you practice, not just when life is peaceful, but especially when it's messy. You keep showing up, you wake up at the same time, you train your body, you feed your mind, you protect your energy, you don't wait for the world to calm down. You get stronger so that you can stay calm in the chaos. There's something sacred about being the same person, no matter what's happening around you. Being consistent gives you that power. It's not that you don't feel pain or pressure. It's that you don't let it make decisions for you. You don't react impulsively. You respond with strength. You act with intention, and that kind of presence is rare. Most people get knocked off track and use chaos as an excuse to give up. You won't, because you understand that chaos doesn't get to run your life. You do. Consistency is how you lead yourself through confusion. It's how you hold your ground when everything else is shaking. It's how you make progress, even when you feel like you're standing in a storm. Every step you take, every habit you keep is a declaration: I will not be moved. I will not fall apart. I've trained for this. You don't need perfect conditions to keep going. You just need to keep going. Let your routine carry you. When your emotions can't, let your discipline speak when your mind is overwhelmed. Let your consistency be louder than the chaos, because it's not about avoiding storms. It's about becoming the kind of person who knows how to walk through them and keep moving forward anyway. There's one truth about success that never changes, You can't cheat the reps. You can't fast forward mastery. You can't shortcut growth. You can't rise to greatness without putting in the work again and again and again. Repetition is the price. Repetition is the path. Repetition is the test. And most people fail it, not because they're incapable, but because they're impatient. They want results after a few tries. They want recognition after minimal effort. They want to feel accomplished without doing what it actually takes to earn it. But life doesn't work like that. Skills don't get built in a day. Strength doesn't show up overnight. Mindsets don't change after one motivational video. You want success? Then get ready to fall in love with repetition. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. Most of the time, it's just you versus you. Same room, same task, same grind, over and over. But that's where the transformation lives. Because every rep you do, even the ones no one sees, is shaping something in you. It's building muscle. It's sharpening focus. It's forming habits. It's reprogramming your mind to keep going even when it's bored, tired, frustrated, or doubting everything. The reps are the difference between the dreamers and the doers. A lot of people talk a good game. They set goals. They visualize. They hype themselves up. But when it comes down to doing the work every single day, they vanish. Not because they're weak, but because they haven't learned to respect the process. And the process requires reps. There is no way around it. No one gets to skip that part. You want to be fit? You lift the weights. Day after day. You want to be a writer? You write the pages. Even when you hate what you're writing. You want to lead? You practice communicating, handling conflict, solving problems daily. You want to master your mindset. You train your thoughts, challenge your habits, face your fears every single time they show up. There is no magic moment where it all clicks and becomes easy. What actually happens is you get stronger because you stayed in the repetition long enough to evolve. It's like a sculptor chipping away at a block of stone. It doesn't look like much at first. Just a few small marks, nothing impressive, but day after day, strike after strike, a masterpiece begins to emerge. That's you. That's what repetition does. It carves something powerful out of what once looked ordinary. And yes, you're going to want to quit. There will be days where the progress feels invisible, days where you feel stuck, days where the results don't match the effort. But those are the most important days, because success isn't built on the days when it's easy. It's built on the days when you keep going anyway. That's the difference. That's the separator. Anyone can go hard for a week. Anyone can push when they're fired up. But the ones who win are the ones who keep doing the reps long after the excitement fades, long after the crowd stops clapping, long after the initial motivation dies. They understand that every rep counts, even the messy ones, even the small ones, even the ones that feel like failure. Because repetition isn't just about practice, it's about conditioning. It's about becoming, and every time you repeat an action, you're reinforcing an identity. You're telling yourself, this is who I am, this is what I do, and eventually it sticks. You stop thinking about it, you just do it. It becomes part of your operating system. That's why repetition is so powerful. It rewires your brain, it rewires your behavior, it removes hesitation. You don't have to convince yourself to act, you act because it's now your nature. That's how discipline gets locked in. That's how greatness becomes inevitable. But it only happens if you respect the grind, if you embrace the monotony, if you realize that boring is beautiful, because boring means you've reached the part where most people quit. And if you stay there, if you keep showing up, you separate yourself. No one can cheat the reps, not the top performers, not the world-class talents. Everyone who has ever achieved anything great had to go through the same process of repetition. They had to fail, adjust, repeat, fail, adjust, repeat, thousands of times. Success is repetition in disguise. Every result you admire is just the visible result of invisible reps. What looks effortless now was built through effort most people never saw. What seems like talent is usually just time. Time spent repeating the work when it felt pointless. Time spent choosing growth over comfort. Time spent being consistent when quitting would have been easier. So don't get discouraged when things feel slow. That's part of the deal. Don't lose focus when no one notices your progress. Don't stop showing up because you're not there yet. Keep doing the reps. Keep trusting the process. Keep becoming the person who earns their growth, not by skipping steps, but by honoring every single one. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're just in the middle of the reps. And that's exactly where greatness is born. Here's the bottom line. Consistency is the great equalizer. You don't have to be the smartest, the most talented, or the most connected. You just have to keep showing up day after day when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's clapping, when everything in you wants to quit. Because it's not the person who starts fast that wins. It's the one who refuses to stop. Do you want to build trust with yourself? Be consistent. You want to change your life? Be consistent. You want to silence your doubts, break through chaos, and earn respect? Be consistent. There are no hacks, no shortcuts, no way around the work. You earn it in the dark, when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, when it's just you and your habits. And one day, the world will look at you and call you lucky, but you'll know the truth. You built this one rep at a time, one promise at a time, one unshakable act of discipline after another. So don't wait. Don't pause. Don't wish. Get up and do it again. Be relentless. Be repetitive. Be consistent. Because in the end, consistency doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. And once that happens, there's not a storm in this world that can shake you.